Some of you off to a quick 2-minute commercial break. When you come back, just a few more senators questioning Attorney General pick Merrick Garland. We'll see you in 2 minutes.
That question, I just haven't thought about that question. I think, the president has made clear that we are a country with the borders and with the concern about national security. I don't know of a proposal to decriminalize but still make it unlawful to enter. I just don't know the answer to that question. I haven't thought about it.
Will you continue to prosecute unlawful border crossings?
Well, this is again a question of allocation of resources. We will, the department will prevent unlawful crossing. I don't know. I have to admit, I just don't know exactly what the conditions are and how this is done. I think if I don't know what the current program even is with respect to this. If there, so I assume that the answer would be yes, but I don't know what the issues surrounding it are.
Let me ask you about the guidelines on asylum eligibility, the issued as part of the Executive Office of Immigration Review. Your predecessors have issued quite a number of guidelines about asylum eligibility. Several senators, Senator Hirono, I think Senator Cornyn, talked about the very significant backlog that we have currently in asylum cases. Will you continue to keep in force the current guidelines on asylum eligibility, or do you anticipate changing them?
Again, given my current professional occupation, I've had no experience whatsoever with the guidelines, so I can't give you a direct answer to that question. Asylum is part of American law, and the Justice Department and the State Department have an obligation to apply that law. I don't know what the guidelines are that you're talking about, and I don't know even about the rescissions of guidelines that you're talking about.
Will you, if confirmed, I'm sure that you'll be reviewing this and considering these questions. Will you pledge to keep us fully posted as you do so?
Yeah, if there's a change in the government policy, if I'm confirmed, of course, there will be a public change because you can't apply those kind of guidelines without making them public.
Let me turn to the subject of antitrust. I heard your answer to Senator Blackburn about the ongoing Google antitrust prosecution. I believe your answer was you did not anticipate any changes in that ongoing prosecution, that the case would go forward. Did I hear you correctly? Is that right?
I don't want to talk about a pending case because it is, after all, a pending case, and that's just what a judge can't talk about. But as is true with most of our investigations, I will, when I get in, if I'm confirmed, I will examine them. But I don't have any reason to think that I would stop that kind of investigation. Recently, various news outlets have reported that Susan Davies is being considered to lead the DOJ Antitrust Division. Susan Davies, of course, has defended Facebook from federal antitrust laws. Facebook has been another target of antitrust scrutiny. Do you think it's appropriate to have someone who is a defender of these massive corporations leading the antitrust division? Well, let me say a number of things in response to this. First of all, the department has recusal rules which prevents somebody who had a role from taking a role in a case like that. Susan Davies is a fantastic lawyer, a woman of enormous integrity, and I have every confidence that were she in that division, she would proceed as completely appropriate. But it turns out that the press reports are completely incorrect. So
she's not under consideration.
No, not that I know of. No.
Oh, and is not going to be, to the best of your knowledge. I assume it'd be your decision.
I don't think either she or I have aspirations for her to be in the antitrust division. So I'm not exactly sure where this came from, but she is a woman of remarkable ability who has helped me in my previous role. And I would be very eager to rely on her good judgment and a woman of strong ethical judgment. So if she were in a position, any position, anywhere in the department, she would know when to recuse or not. But this particular issue, she's not, as far as I know, she's not going to be in the antitrust division, not because she wanted to be or I wanted her to be in there and because somebody said she couldn't.
Good. Well, I think that's news, I think, and welcome news. And I just want to register at my own point of view here, which is I think that the recusal or not,
the message it would send. The Google case is perhaps the most significant antitrust case the department has undertaken since Microsoft. Easily, maybe more significant than that, because Google, frankly, is significantly more powerful than Microsoft was. The message it would send to have a lawyer defending these massive companies and the antitrust division.
I don't know who is sending this message or why this message was being sent, but there is no. I don't have any intention of this, but I am confident that had this been the case, this would not be a problem. You know, unfortunately or fortunately, a lot of the best antitrust lawyers in the country have some involvement, one way or another, in some part of high tech, and we can't exclude every single good lawyer from being able to be in the division. But that's not an issue. Nothing you need to be concerned about.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Garland, I want to go back to the topic of protecting the Department of Justice from political influence and being weaponized politically. A number of Senate Democrats at this hearing have used the opportunity to cast aspersions to the job Bill Barr did as Attorney General. I think those aspersions are false. I think he showed enormous courage in fighting to defend the rule of law. But Bill Barr, when explicitly asked about whether he would terminate Robert Mueller at his confirmation hearing, the same situation you find yourself, he said he would not terminate him absent, quote, good cause. Are you willing to meet the same standard of integrity that Bill Barr demonstrated? And will you make that same commitment to this committee that you will not terminate Mr. Durham absent good cause?
Yeah. What I've said to committee and is that I need to get information about this investigation, which I do not have here. I understand that a decision has been made to keep him in place, and I have absolutely no reason to doubt that that was the right decision and that he should be kept in place. But I can't go any further without learning the facts of the investigation and what the status is.
So, Judge Garland, with all due respect, and I recognize you've been a judge for 23, 24 years, judicial nominees sit in that chair and decline to answer just about every question senators pose them, as saying, well, as a judge, I can't commit how I would rule on any given case, and that's appropriate. You're not nominated to be a judge in this position. You are nominated to an executive position, and you're a constitutional scholar. You understand fully well the difference between attorney general versus an Article III judge. Bill Barr didn't know the details of the Mueller investigation at the time, but he knew that Bob Mueller was investigating President Trump, that it was highly politically sensitive. And so to show his integrity and commitment to being nonpartisan, he said he wouldn't terminate Mueller absent good cause. You have the opportunity to do the same thing. The investigation into Durham is highly political. It potentially implicates Joe Biden and Barack Obama. And I just want to be clear, you're refusing to give that same commitment. You want to keep the options open to terminate the investigation.
Look, I'm not refusing to give that commitment because I am a judge. I'm telling you what I think an attorney general ought to do, which is to look at the facts before making a decision. I'm also telling you that I will never make a decision in the department based on politics or on partisanship. So whatever decision I were to make, it would not be based on that. And all I can ask you to do is trust me based on a record of my 24 years as a judge, my entire career before that as a prosecutor, and my life before that. That's my record of integrity, and that's what you have before you.
So a similar line of questions that you were asked concerned the Google antitrust investigation. And Google, big tech as a whole, contributed over $15 million to the Joe Biden campaign. They're enormously important Democratic donors. There will be enormous political pressure to abandon that case against Google. Can you give this committee assurances that you can stand up to that political pressure just because Democratic fundraisers want to be lenient on Google, that the Department of Justice will not give in to that pressure?
So, Senator Cruz, I'm old enough to remember when there was a political effort to end the case in the antitrust case in the Justice Department against ITT, which gives you an idea of how old this is, that there is no ITT anymore, the International Telephone and Telegraph Company. This, if I'm not wrong, this was one of the paragraphs in the indictment, the proposed indictment, impeachment of President Nixon, I think, but it was around the same time. And it had to do with partisan effort to influence the Justice Department and the Antitrust Division. I grew up knowing that this is not something that is permissible for the Justice Department to do. And my whole life has been in looking at Ed Levy and the Watergate, post-Watergate attorneys general who stood up to that kind of stuff. And I can assure you that I don't care what kind of donor talks to me about what of anything. I don't expect to talk to any donors. I have no conflicts. I don't own any Google stock, and I will do whatever is the right thing, and I don't own any stock, or I won't once, if I'm...
Let me ask two very quick questions, because my time is expiring.
Yeah.
Number one, you voted to rehear the Heller case, or actually the Parker case, en banc.
I did.
I argued the Parker case in the D.C. Circuit. As Attorney General, will the Department of Justice argue for the Supreme Court to overturn Heller versus District of Columbia?
Okay, the department, makes all kinds of judgments like that. I can't promise, but I find it hard to believe that the department could think that there was any possibility of overturning the Heller case.
Okay, and then the final one, with the chairman's indulgence, because I'm at the end of my time.
Yeah.
9 senators wrote a letter to Chairman Durbin asking this committee to investigate Governor Andrew Cuomo's policies concerning COVID and sending COVID-positive individuals into nursing homes. A senior aide of his admitted to a cover-up to hide information from the Department of Justice. You've committed to a number of investigations here at this hearing today. Will you commit to investigating the extent to which the government of New York broke laws or covered up their policies concerning COVID-positive patients in nursing homes?
With all of these investigations, the Justice Department is open to evidence of fraud, false statements, violations of the law. They normally begin in the appropriate way in the relevant U.S. Attorney's Office. And that is the way that something like this, without commenting on this in particular, because I don't know the facts.
But in this instance, the acting U.S. attorney is the mother-in-law of the senior official in the Cuomo administration that admitted to the cover-up. Will you at least commit to not having the investigation done by a person with a conflict of interest?
Of course. I don't know any of the facts, but I can guarantee you that somebody with a conflict of interest will not be the person running an investigation of any kind.
Thank you.
Since it has appeared, reappeared, and then appeared again, this question about the Durham special counsel. For the record, the President of the United States and the White House, when they reported their policy on the future of U.S. attorneys, made 2 exceptions, if I remember correctly. One was for the Delaware U.S. attorney, and the second one was in this situation with Durham.